All it took was a bark, sharp, urgent, a sound that cuts right through your bones, echoing out in the kind of forest that makes you wonder if you're being watched, or if maybe the trees just know more than you do. That's how I remember that morning near Pine Hollow, Montana, when everything about my life and my job as a deputy changed. Not for the first time, but in a way that still sits heavy in my chest. You ever hear a dog bark and know, deep down, it means something's wrong? Yeah, that happened. Scout, my German Shepherd partner, he saved my skin more times than I care to count. But that day, he was on another level, fixated, every muscle tense, eyes locked on the thick brush just off the fire road that he led me straight to it. An old ambulance, rusted out, faded to the color of a bad bruise, hidden so deep in pine needles and moss that you'd miss it if you blinked. I muttered something to myself, maybe a curse, maybe a prayer, before I called for backup, and then I saw Scout. He was digging at the back doors, making this sound I'd never heard before, like he knew someone inside needed him. I wrestled with that door until it gave, and that's when I saw him. A boy, 6 years old, pale as the sky before a storm, breathing so shallow I thought my heart would stop. Eli. I whispered, and for a second, nothing in the world mattered but that boy and the dog who'd found him. You ever feel the whole world tilt under your feet? That was me as I radioed for EMS, Scout standing guard like he'd appointed himself Eli's protector. 3 days before, every cop and neighbor in the county had been searching for that boy, volunteers on ATVs, news choppers buzzing overhead, FBI agents showing up like we were in some crime drama. But all the leads went cold. No prints, no footprints, just one sock in the backyard and a mom whose life broke open in 10 minutes flat. When hope's about to die, that's when Scout picked up the trail, one sock, one scent, and he dragged me through thicket and fear and right to that ambulance. The ride to the hospital felt endless. Scout refused to leave Eli's side, and when the nurses swarmed in, all I could do was watch through the glass, wondering who could do something like this. Who dumps a child in an ambulance in the woods and disappears? The more we dug, the stranger it got. Ambulance VIN scrubbed, decals scraped off, no plates, not a fingerprint or ID to be found except a pediatric sedative bottle and an insulated lunchbox. Eli's shoes on the floor, t-shirt torn, but no bruises, no blood. The kid wouldn't speak, not a word, just stared at nothing. Unless Scout came in the room. That dog would curl up by Eli's stretcher, and you'd see Eli's fingers twitch, eyes tracking every move, like Scout was his anchor. That's when a rookie deputy asked a question that made my stomach drop. How do we know Eli was supposed to be the only one? Why here? Why alive? Why now? I thought about it as Scout started acting twitchy again, even after the ambulance was towed out like some haunted relic. The whole thing felt planned, like someone meant to erase every trace, but missed just enough for us to find it. There was a missing radio, no records, no computer, just cold metal and a stretcher, and a boy who wouldn't speak at the hospital. Eli's mom tried everything. Tears, stories, holding his hand. But Eli was behind some kind of wall I'd seen before, though never this thick. The only crack was Scout, the one thing that could get through. Meanwhile, the FBI sent an agent. Collins, old school, no patience for small talk, and he said it straight. This isn't some random predator. This is organized. Someone scrubbed that ambulance for a reason. Why leave Eli alive? You sure they meant to? That question chilled me more than the mountain air. A day later, Scout led me off trail again. This time to a shallow grave, a stash site with a dirty blanket, a juice box, a pacifier too small for a 6-year-old. That was the twist. Right there, a second kid. Back at the office, we pulled a faded sticker from an ambulance photo. Greenfield Medical, Nebraska, 3 states over. The ambulance had been sold years before to a Victor Sloan. No criminal record, no address, but a storage facility that burned down. Every breadcrumb led to another dead end. Then Eli spoke, just one word, whispered to a nurse, Duke. Not a relative, not a family friend, but a boy from his class, a foster kid who vanished, no one knowing why. My gut twisted up. I ran missing children reports. 16 kids named Duke, but one photo from Kansas caught my eye. Curly hair, small, face I'd seen in the reflection of a metal cabinet in an ambulance photo. Two kids, not one. Two stories that didn't want to be found. The next bombshell, an RFID chip in Eli's arm, not medical, not for a pet, but industrial, something you use to track cargo, not children. That's when everything snapped into focus. This wasn't just a kidnapping. It was a network, moving kids across state lines, in ambulances, in RVs, never staying put long enough to catch. Tyrell Knox, ex-EMT, popped up, his fingerprint on a mirror. Eli confirmed, that's the man who locked the doors. But the real hero kept circling, Scout, who had once worked with another handler on a child trafficking case gone cold, a case with the same medic impersonator who dumped Eli. Scout led me, step by step, to the next clue, a hidden medical cabinet in the woods, a clipboard with names, including Eli and Duke. At the hospital, a toy ambulance brought it all back for Eli. They didn't take Duke to the same place. They said Duke was too noisy. The network sorted kids, shuttled them, discarded them if they caused trouble. The FBI ran the Polaroid from the hospital chapel. A man in the background was Marcus Dillard, Knox's old cellmate, now driving an RV spotted near Coldwater County that we hit the road. Me, Scout, a deputy, tracking an RV tucked behind an abandoned billboard. There was a child's handprint on the window, a sound of panic inside, a standoff, and Scout didn't wait for permission. He barreled in, clamped down on Dillard before he could shoot, and we pulled Duke out alive. Thin, scared, silent, but alive. That dog, I swear, he was the only thing that could reach those boys. The whole operation ran on a 10-day rotation. Move kids, erase evidence, use burner phones, inventory lists like they were moving furniture. We were lucky. We stopped the transfer in time. Later, a chip just like Eli's was found in Duke, traced to a logistics supplier in Colorado, a warehouse where, 3 days later, a raid broke open the whole rotten system. No kids found that day, but evidence, blueprints, and names, the real story of what happened to Eli and Duke. The town rallied. At the courthouse, the mayor pinned a medal on Scout's vest. Everyone clapped, and for a second, it felt like the world could be safe again. I retired Scout right there. He lives with Eli and Duke now, sleeping at the foot of their bed, teaching them to trust the dark less. I still visit, sometimes with files, sometimes with snacks, mostly to see two boys who learned to laugh again because one dog refused to give up on a bark, a scent, a memory. But you know what sticks with me? There were more names on that clipboard. More stories that aren't finished yet. This wasn't just about Eli, or Duke, or even Scout. It was about the ones who get forgotten, lost in paperwork or silence. So here's my question. If you were the one who found that ambulance in the woods, what would you have done? Would you have listened to that bark? Let's talk about what real justice means, who gets to be saved, and who we keep looking for, no matter how long it takes.